All right, here we have iNcontroL as our yellow Protoss at the top right. And at the bottom left, we have our purple Terran QXC on the wonderful map Young. Oh, man. Cannot wait to see this game. Best of 5, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
So what do you think of this map, Cats? I know you've played on it a few times now.
For TVP,
In general,
um,
and
in
then
general,
TVP.
looks like a fun map. I don't know. I haven't played it enough so that I can get like stuff down. But it looks like a lot of fun. I think it could be a sword map if played correctly. But at the same time, the narrow paths to the bases make it really good for PvC. As far as TVP goes, I don't really know that much, but I'm guessing Terran can kind of abuse those things to their favor with tanks and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
it's pretty good. It's pretty good for Terran as well because if they take the middle-ish area, they can secure their half of the map pretty easily, except for the gold.
Yeah.
So I could see QXC getting some tanks here.
Yeah, I guess it would really depend on if he goes bio or if he goes for more of the 1-1-1 push, which is more of the popular mech option against Protoss at the moment.
Indeed. That's a pretty fast gas by in control.
Yeah, maybe like one food early. He was able to do it almost without cutting, though, so really just dependent on the mineral location and his economy.
Okay.
You having fun with the Hokke there, Cats?
Yeah, lots of fun, bro. Lots of fun.
Oh, iNcontroL has hidden a probe in QXC's base. I gotta wonder if QXC has noticed this or not.
Yeah, because there's
Oh,
a
looks like he
gigantic
did,
palm through. Oh.
Yeah, and
or
this
he's
is
just checking in case.
this
There.
is Sixth Sense I
Yeah, he
talk
like
about
yeah,
for.
he didn't see it, but like he could see it on the mini map. That was pretty cool because there's a gigantic palm tree that probably shouldn't
Yeah.
be there covering the probe.
Yeah, this is Sixth Sense that I talk about sometimes, where players really watch very carefully the scouting probe on their minimap, and they watch, okay, there's a probe in my base. And then they get this idea, it hasn't left yet. And sometimes they're not sure, because like I might have missed it, but it almost looks like they just always know that there's a worker in their base, but it's just because they saw it come in and then they're pretty sure they never saw it leave. Just that a
Right.
little bit of extra awareness that a lot of the top level players have that make it so much harder to put any sort of proxy pylons in their base.
Yeah, right
Interestingly
now it
enough,
seems. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying that we actually see one gate Robo coming out of iNcontroL, and he only just started his warp gate now. So that's a really early Robo, and he sacrificed that warp gate tech for it. So I mean, clearly, possibly going to go for something like immortal drops, something very Robo based to go for that. Before he even got his warp gate tech going.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty early guess.
And meanwhile, we see a tank coming out for QXC, and he is on double gas at this point. I'm still waiting to see what other building he's going to be going for, since obviously he won't just stay on one barracks, one factory, unless he tries to expand off that, which is possible. Oh, Ghost Academy. Did I just see that?
Yeah.
Was I hallucinating? Oh, yeah, there it is. Ghost Academy going for QXC. Wow, interesting build. So he goes barracks, factory, starts getting tanks, and then he gets a Ghost Academy. He doesn't actually have a tech lab yet on his barracks. Really interesting build. Ghost tank. That's a lot of gas to spend. And he hasn't
Uh,
started siege mode yet, so I don't know.
I think it could work. Just because the Ghost is such a good option to have mixed in with your army, basically in any situation against Protoss, because the EMP is so good, even if they don't have caster units, just clearing off shields off of immortals, massive stalkers,
Yeah,
sentries.
absolutely.
Um, just
And they do a lot of damage.
yeah, just having that option available seems like a pretty good idea, as long as you're going basically anything that has bio, because with the mech, if you're going pure mech, it's just so much gas, you're not going to be able to mix in ghosts. So it looks like he's going more with a bio push, just with a couple tanks to support it, and then he's going to mix in a couple ghosts here and there just to get off those EMPs and help him out so much more so that his stims can get in there and focus down units really quickly. So it's different. I haven't seen it before, but I think this has a lot of potential if he controls it correctly to do quite a bit of damage, possibly as a timing attack. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
In Control has seen everything with the Observer, so I mean, it looks like he's really confident he's going to go for an expansion now. But I'm really worried as to whether he'll be able to hold this off and expand.
yeah. I don't often see in control going for an expansion. Usually, what I saw against the Raven when I cast it was hide and take a lot. He was hiding like starports and going for void rays and stuff like that. Apparently, he's going Colossi right now. He's hiding the robotics bay so that it doesn't get scanned. QXC hasn't started researching siege tank, so I would have to think it's some sort of timing attack. Um, but nope, he's dropping a command center. I am a foreign to this language and to this game.
He was moving his ghost around in his base a little bit. Looked as if he was trying to see if the observer was moving and possibly be able to pick it off with EMP. That's actually quite difficult now that they reduced the radius on it because of the fact that you have to shoot under the observer. So it's like you see the distortion, you have to aim under it, and it can actually be pretty tricky to hit a moving observer if you don't have a good amount of practice. Though QXC, I believe, actually made a map that was basically EMP practice where you had cloaked banshees, cloaked observers, and cloaked ghosts coming at you from different directions, and you had to keep EMPing the cloaked units as they're moving and picking them off before your ghost dies. So I wouldn't put it past him to have really good control with that, because I believe it was him that made that map and posted it on Team Liquid.
Yeah,
Sounds
interesting.
like
It looks. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Oh
Yeah,
look,
look,
it's
he missed.
Oh,
busting
and there
him.
he missed. Um, yeah, I was just gonna say, it looks like QXC is not planning on attacking anytime soon, since he just got himself a starport and an engineering bay, which is, playing for the later game. He's gonna get himself that tech, maybe go for some kind of, medevacs or something like that. Maybe transition into Banshee Viking or something, and he's also getting that engineering bay to either allow himself to get turrets or possibly upgrades. And we do see that tech lab going up for the starport, so probably going to see some Banshees coming out of there. Excellent
Yeah,
addition
for
for the
Shizzle.
tanks.
If he's going more for the late game, with his unit composition, I'd actually almost expect to see a Raven even more, just because of the fact that what he's seen so far
Yeah.
is stalkers. He hasn't really seen much of the robotics facility, I don't think. Let me check his vision. Yeah, he hasn't seen much except for stalkers and a robotics facility without the Robo Bay. So if he's thinking that his opponent might be going for more of a heavy stalker composition, then he could be just going for the Raven for the PDD.
Yeah,
Definitely interesting.
that's what I would expect. Probably gonna pump a lot of Vikings though once he sees the Colossi. But yeah,
This
I
is
think this
interesting,
build
though,
was.
that sorry
Go
that
ahead.
he just hasn't seen the Colossi yet, and yet look, he's actually building Vikings already. When he hasn't seen the Colossi and he went for that tech lab first, really strange that he went for a tech lab and then is just building Vikings without it being a response to Colossi.
It is almost
Well,
becoming standard for Terran players just to make one Viking to begin with off of a starport anyway, just because they're good at running around and scouting, and it opens up options for him in this situation where if his opponent is getting Colossus, well, he's able to harass the Colossus with a ridiculous range. Get in there, get a shot, just do that hit and run tactics and soften them up a little bit. And then when he does see the actual Colossus on the field, he'll start pumping them a little bit heavier as well.
Yeah. And if
yeah,
you look
it's
at this, I mean, In Control's dropped that third, Ninja third at the top left. So he's just trying to contain his opponent right now, and he's going to get himself a huge economic advantage if QXC does not scout this and push out or just do a timing push.
yeah. Again, the Vikings don't really seem all that much of a surprise just because he knows he's had an observer for a while, which means Robo for a while, which probably most likely means Colossi, especially against um, the lots of Marines that he's been getting. So it's a little bit of a blind response, but at the same time, it's obvious to some extent.
Yeah, and he's still actually producing immortals off of one of these robotics facilities. He's not using them full time. So actually has quite a big gas stockpile going here. And I'm wondering what this is going to go to. seeing as sentries really against a more stationary army like what QXE is working towards, if then it's not really the best option. So I'm wondering what this 800 gas is being
Well,
saved up for.
he has the Templar archives most of the way done at the bottom of his base.
Oh, there it is.
So I'm
Yeah.
assuming he's going to spam a whole bunch of Templar and use feedback on these ghosts and storm everything in sight, which is a very good option to go for with this situation. It's really interesting though that QXC actually got himself a Raven there. I don't know if he's just using this to scout for observers or if he's going to use it to point a fence drone or what. But that's a really interesting choice. He's
You
he's
might
got a
catch
lot
this
of really gas
observer.
heavy units.
If you
Yeah.
look, he's pretty close. It could just be to try and hunt observers because some of the top level Terrans actually go to quite a bit of effort to hunt down observers. They'll actively try and EMP any observers they see in the area. Because if you look, his ghosts are both I think both energy. One of them, yeah, they're both 200 energy, so they're fully charged. He's able to throw out the occasional EMP if he didn't have the Raven out, but now he's able to save EMPs for the actual army and just fly the Raven around. He's just moving the army a bit, and
Here comes the timing push. Oh man, In Control sees it coming. He's got to frantically scram to get defended against this because this is a huge army by QXC, and as we know, In Control expanded. So if you look at the army tab, you can see that QXC is way ahead in his army size. But I don't know, his timing he's got to move. He's got to go like right now. Every moment that he waits is more units that In Control is making off of these three bases.
Yeah, actually, I gotta say, they're pretty even on supply, but, like you said, In Control with his third base is way ahead on workers. But seeing as they're both pretty close to maxed, I wouldn't think it's too big of a deal if he still plays it a little bit safe and moves in, is careful, maybe gets a good EMP off on the Templar. Make sure that he's careful and doesn't lose any units unnecessarily. Then he should be in a decent enough position where if he wins a really good engagement, he should be able to continue to push and take out a base or two anyway. So I don't think he's under any huge amounts of pressure to move it. And look at him abusing this cliff. I really, really like this. So one thing I've really been wondering about this map are those tiny cliffs up there that make it so hard to engage Terran tanks, where it's like, okay, what angle are you going to hit that from? But I really like In Control's response here, where it's like, okay, I can't directly attack that, so I'm going to go hit something else, so you have to unsiege and leave the cliff. But both players actually hitting the corner base at about the same time, apparently.
Yep, indeed. And QXE is pretty aware of what's going on. He's been throwing down a lot of scans. And now apparently In Control wasn't going for that base, but now he will be as he sees all these SCVs moving. But he's definitely going to lose his own base as well. So we'll see. Oh, and QXE being a little careless there, not killing those High Templars up top.
I gotta say, this is a much bigger loss for In Control than it is for QXC. QXC wasn't, he only got that base up right then anyways, and so it's kind of evening the playing field out, whereas In Control had a huge advantage before.
Yeah,
but QXC's army is not as small well, so it's probably In Control is probably gonna do a lot more damage than QXC was able to. Let's see how early he can get there and see if he can stop this. It's a lot of people in there.
Very nice EMPs. But I mean, he's got to get his army back in position. It's way out of position right now. He's taking huge losses. He's doing tons of damage to these Colossi.
Those EMPs are helping him out a lot here because he did get all of the Templar, which means that as his forces came back, he's actually doing heavy damage to his Protoss army. That charge, though, really messed him up, as now the Zealots just charged right in on his tanks, were able to take them all out. And with that earlier storm taking out most of the bio, that was enough to force the GG.